We spend a lifetime collecting memories, photos, papers, pieces of who we once were. And this time of year, as we get into the spring cleaning groove, we ask, do I need all of this stuff? Because at some point, all of that stuff will begin to weigh you down. And what happens when you begin to notice that your parents' homes are becoming harder to navigate and sometimes no longer safe? Today, we're talking about decluttering after 50 for ourselves and for the people we love. Today's guest helps people declutter, simplify, and create systems that actually work in real life. And you're going to meet her in just a minute. But first, we have to take a break. But not to worry, we'll be back in a flash, a hot flash. Lovies, as we're clearing out a lifetime of stuff, whether it's our own homes or helping our parents, it takes more than motivation. It takes energy. That's why I reach for Bricker Labs liquid vitamin B12 glass and folic acid, my go-to when I need to stay focused and keep moving. I lovingly call it my secret sassy sauce. Learn more at brickerlabs.com/AGG10 and use my code AGG10. As always, check with your healthcare professional before adding any new supplement. And now, back to our conversation. Welcome back to the Ageless Glamour Girls podcast, where we empower and celebrate women age 50 plus on their invigorating, inspiring, and sometimes challenging ageless aging journey. I'm your host, Marquita Curtis Haynes. Today, we're talking about something that many of us are facing, a lifetime of belongings. What to keep, what to get rid of, what to release. And in many cases, we're also helping our parents and other loved ones do the same. Yes, this is about getting organized, but also about memory, identity, and creating spaces that support the life we're living now. And joining us today is someone who helps people do exactly just that. She's Tanisha Lyons Porter. She's the founder of Natural Born Organizers, and she brings a practical, compassionate approach to decluttering, including how simplifying systems, sometimes down to just one step, can make all the difference. Tanisha, welcome to the Ageless Glamour Girls podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I love talking about all of these types of things. And so I'm excited about our conversation.
Oh, nice, nice. We want to start off with first impressions. Even before you get to the decluttering stage, if you have, your home cleaned or whatever, you find, I hear this all the time of people saying that before the person or the people come, you have to clean, you have to do all the cleaning yourself. And then
Right.
sometimes the husbands or the boyfriend, whatever, they're like, no, no, we're not touching anything. It's fine. They're coming to
Yeah.
clean. So I'm just curious, from your POV,
hmm
what are your first impressions when you walk into someone's home?
I like to look and see, what negative space is or how much negative space is in the home. Are there open spaces with just a plant or just empty, or is
Mhm,
every single space full with something? Because a lot of times we confuse or we conflate
mhm, mhm,
square footage with storage space, and it's not necessarily the same. And so
mm,
I always tell people before I do a either virtual needs assessment or I come to your
mhm,
home, don't
mhm.
clean up. I need to see what ends up where and why. I need to see
Ooh.
the real because it sparks questions. So my point of view is when I see certain things hanging out in corners, then I know that doesn't have a space. When I see, somebody dropping the mail in a certain place, that
Mhm,
it sparks questions. So I want to see the worst. I want to see the worst of the worst because it will help me to understand what the challenges are
mhm,
and
mhm,
how the family or the household naturally flows. And then it,
mhm.
it helps with the solutions.
Wow, that's an excellent point. So don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything and try your
Wow.
hardest. because I know, people, because it's vulnerability, right? Like when you're
Mhm.
allowing someone in your home, it's vulnerable. And so we're taught to show our best foot. And so when you're hiring someone, like you said, when we even hire a cleaning person, we
Mhm.
typically pick up or clean before, because we don't want the cleaning person to know, how dirty, that shower door got, or
Right,
whatever. But
right.
for me, it that false sense of order
Mhm.
hurts the process, because I need to see like how it gets when you're depressed. I need to see how it gets when you're busy at work and you're working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I need to
Mhm.
know how things get when the kids are sick. I need to know how things get when your husband is in the hospital and you're barely at home and you're just home to sleep or whatever, or change clothes. I need to
Mhm.
see that, because
Mhm.
then that helps me with the process and the solution.
I love that. That is an excellent point. I didn't even think about that. You need to see how you
Yeah.
need to see the real,
Yeah. Yeah.
with
I need to
what you're
see
up
where the
against.
systems are breaking down. I need to
Right.
see where the system is breaking down.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, um, there's so many studies on the market. Yeah, I mean, out there you see about, the negativity, the negative side of if you don't declutter, if you live around all of this stuff, right?
Hmm.
So, what do families go through when you see that nothing has been decluttered?
Yeah. There's a lot of burden. There's a lot of stress of the unknown. A lot of times, especially Gen Xers,
Hmm.
they're stressed. They're
Hmm.
stressed
Hmm.
over all of the things that are in
Uh-huh.
their parents or their aunts, like you said, their uncles, their family members, their aging family members' homes,
Hmm.
because they've probably experienced someone else in the family passing, and they've experienced secondhand or third hand
Hmm.
watching
Hmm.
that person have to deal with what was left behind. And so now
Mm.
they're stressed. They're like,
Hmm.
oh my God, I'm going to have to deal with this. It's going to be me. It's all going to be on me. It's going to be on me. And so, it causes this anxiety, and then
Hmm.
that anxiety causes tension, right? And so
Right.
it's this balance of how much do I push my aging loved one to
Hmm.
benefit me,
Hmm.
but then also I don't want to jeopardize the time I have left with that aging loved one, because we don't know how long that person is going to be around. So
Exactly.
so it's like balancing, do I really want every time I'm with that person, or every time I'm over their house I'm talking about the fact that they've lived in this house for 50 years, and they've never really done a major declutter? Is that how I want to spend that time?
Mhm,
So it is,
mhm,
it's a balancing act, and you just really have to use discernment,
mhm, mhm.
and figure out what the best path is. And that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about. It's like really guiding people through that process and deciding what's worth tackling now and having conversations now, and what do you do if your aging loved one is not ready to have that conversation, or is just not going to, right? Like it's just not
Exactly.
going to happen.
Right, right. You raised so many good points. I mean, the big house. My father was the youngest of five siblings, and he's the only one who had kids. And so at one point, three of the siblings lived in the house. There was this giant house, beautiful house. And so when everybody, passed on one by one, we had there. I have two siblings. We had to go over there, and it was just a
Yeah,
lifetime of stuff. And that's what happens when you live in a house for 50, 60 years and and you accumulate, you
yeah.
accumulate. And yeah, so your children, your nieces and nephew, whomever, you
Hmm.
know, has to go through that. And you raised another good point about you don't want to just bombard them every time you go over there. It's like,
No.
oh, maybe you should start decluttering. Maybe you should get rid of this stuff. It would be fun. How do you approach family members for
You
that
know,
sort?
you have to listen to what their concerns are about.
Mm-hmm,
If they talk about, like you said, wanting to age at home as long as possible, then
mm-hmm,
sometimes the entryway is that, right? Like
mm-hmm,
mom, dad, auntie, grandma, granddad. If you want to stay here as long as possible, if that is your aging plan,
mm-hmm,
then we're going to have to shift some things. We're going to have to start decluttering a little
mm-hmm.
bit to make it safe, right? We
Yes,
don't
yes.
want, so you have to kind of use your discernment
Mm-hmm,
and find entryways. And so most people want to stay in their home as long as possible. And so
mm-hmm,
safety is a
mm-hmm.
really great entry point
Mm,
because because everything is about fall prevention
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and clutter and
mm-hmm,
things.
mm-hmm,
That is the easiest way, to have a fall. And as we age, our body changes. We
mm-hmm,
tend to get slower, our balance is off a little bit, and
mm-hmm.
it's not as easy to balance the maintenance of a home or a condo or an apartment. Whatever we used to do in our 30s and 40s and
Mm-hmm.
20s, it's harder to balance all of that. And so that's another thing that tends to happen, is
Mhm.
that the maintenance of your home is harder. And so things start getting deferred. And then that's when things start to build up, build up, build up. And so
Mhm.
it's really listening to the loved one
Mm.
and trying to find out what their pain points are, and
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
and letting that be the entry point, because most people want to stay at home and enjoy their home as
They
long
do.
as possible. And just
Exactly.
being and even if someone says, they're not ready,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
always something that's an entry point that they really don't care about. And
Mhm.
so it's just having those conversations and trying to find out what that is to get them
Mhm.
started. Yeah, because it's fear. It's based in fear and unknown.
Mhm.
So you kind of have to get past that, and but it's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, you mentioned that yeah, because I was going to ask you about the safety issues, the clutter.
Hmm.
What are some of those? I mean, the thing that comes to mind for me is it's just the throw rugs throughout the
Oh
home.
yes. Oh
But
yes.
but
Oh yes.
what are some of the first signs that a parent's home may no longer be safe?
Well, when fixtures no longer are operational, or they're not working the way they should, and
Oh.
so that maintenance of the thing, like maybe light bulbs aren't necessarily being changed.
Oh.
You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Because
I didn't think about that.
you have to stand on a step stool to get to it, or things like that. Or like you said, throw rugs, lifting on the floor, them just shifting and moving.
Mhm, mhm.
Another red flag is when rooms are not functional anymore because
Ooh,
they have things in them,
mhm.
right? That's
Wow.
also a red flag, because the shift in the purpose of the room didn't change when
Mhm.
life did. This
Oh,
could have been someone's bedroom, or it could have been used for an office. But those days and times and seasons have long passed. But
mhm.
the purpose of the room and the activities that happen in the room never shifted. Nothing else,
Wow.
nothing else came up. An activity, a purpose, a reason for the room never
Mhm,
changed with it.
mhm,
and
mhm.
and therefore it's just, it's now just becomes most of the time a junk room. Another thing that I notice is
Point.
when a house is too big, or there's multiple stairs,
Mm.
or multiple levels. A
Mhm,
lot of times our seniors, or even someone who has a chronic, condition,
mhm,
medical condition, they'll
mhm,
start to collect things in certain areas so they
mhm.
don't have to go upstairs too many times. so
Oh,
they
wow.
don't have to go downstairs too many times. Like they may get a small refrigerator upstairs so they don't have to go downstairs to the refrigerator or the kitchen as much as possible. You know,
Mm,
they may start bringing bathroom items into the living room or the den because maybe the bathroom is on the other side of the house, right? Which,
mhm, mhm,
you know,
mhm,
we didn't think about that when we were younger, or we didn't have pain in the hips and the knees or anything like that. And so
mhm,
that always tends to be a red flag for me to notice, is when you know, you have these drop zones to make it easier, because it's just too hard to get to that bathroom now. It's too hard to go upstairs, you know, to get that. So now things start to have their own space. The problem is, because there's really nothing wrong with that. If you want to
mhm,
age at home, it's
mhm,
fine to redefine spaces. The
mhm.
problem is that the things that were previously in that space is still there. So
That's right.
now, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? So
Yeah,
now you
exactly.
have what has always been there, plus the things that
Yes.
you actually need to live and function are now
Mhm.
on top of that. And then
Oh my
that's
gosh.
when we start buying things to hold it and kind of
Oh,
make it work.
mhm,
Or
mhm,
that's when the kitchen, you know, the coffee table now holds all the things that would be in the kitchen or the bathroom.
mhm.
Or now the couch, half of the couch has, you know, bills and things to pay bills and things to write cards and, you know, all of,
It's
you
all
know,
about convenience for
Bible set.
them.
It's all about convenience. And, you know, there's steps that can happen that we as family members can help. And it's like, if we
Mhm,
notice that, it's like, oh, you know, mom, well, let's, you know, shift this. You know, if
mhm,
you need for this to kind of be your office now, can we move some things, you know, around to make it to
mhm,
where it's still safe for you to move around and you
mhm,
have space in
mhm.
between the couch and the chair and all of those types of things. So yeah.
I didn't even that so many excellent points. I didn't even think about all that stuff. It's like, yeah, now that I'm visualizing stuff as you're mentioning
Hmm.
the older people in my life, and all of a sudden you see all
Hmm.
these things collected around their main space.
Hmm.
You didn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
think about it. So that's a great that's a great red flag. That's a sign.
Yeah.
That
It's a sign, you know, it's when you start seeing things gathering, it's a sign. And
mhm,
then that's a great entry point, right?
mhm,
Convenience. How
mhm.
can we make it easier for you?
Right. And not to
Yeah.
mention, there's only so much that's going to fit on the coffee table or the end table. Stuff is going to fall to the floor. And if you have back issues or knee or hip issues or whatever, you're not going to pick them up until
Absolutely.
somebody comes over to visit. Then that person. But in the meantime, hello,
Mhm.
another fall risk.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely. Yep.
mhm. But how do you know when it's time for them to perhaps downsize and stuff is getting too tricky for them at home? You mentioned, you know, they've collected stuff here, they've collected stuff there, and it's getting a little dangerous. How do you know when it's time to, broach that subject with them, that maybe it's time for them to move in with you,
Mhm.
another sibling, or move into a senior citizens complex?
Yeah, you know, there comes a time when we notice that our aging loved one is old, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like they're like, "Oh my God, when did this happen?" And so there comes a time when things start to shift.
Hmm.
And there comes a time when we are their person, but they're still fairly independent.
Hmm.
And then slowly it starts to shift to
Hmm.
where you're handling a lot of stuff,
Mm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Right.
When that shifts,
Hmm.
then it becomes more of a tough love conversation,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it becomes less of a compromise, and it becomes more, you're my responsibility now,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
as your person.
Mhm.
And if we don't make certain adjustments, it's elder abuse, right?
Yeah, that right,
You know,
right. Yeah,
it's elder neglect, it's
yeah.
elder abuse.
Mhm.
Um, and if anything was ever to happen, people are gonna be looking at me,
That's right.
right?
That's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
at some point,
Mhm.
whether that conversation starts at the doctor's office
Mhm.
or not, at some point there's a tough love conversation.
Right, right. And you just, at some point, it's like you can't continue to put it off.
Yeah, when that main responsibility starts to shift and
Mhm.
it's no longer 50-50, like you're still doing some things, I'm still doing some things, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
when I'm paying your bills for you, it still may be
Mhm.
your money, but I'm doing all of the adult things now for you.
Good point. Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
I know totally what you're saying. Yes.
It starts to shift when I'm paying your bills for you, when I'm making the appointments to make sure that these appointments get done,
Mhm.
when I'm either making sure that you're getting where you need to get to, whether or not it's me or someone else, like
Mhm.
when that major shift happens,
Mhm.
then that's when the tough love conversation has to occur, because now it's impeding on me being able to support you in the best way possible.
Wow. That's so many excellent points. So you have to pay attention.
Yeah,
Like we talked earlier, you just keep an eye out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's always openings to have the
Mhm.
conversation. You
Mhm.
know, when there's an opening, jump on in. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
Even if that shift hasn't actually happened yet,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
when there's an opening, like if they're talking about, an older cousin, of theirs, and maybe stress or shifts that are happening in their life
In
and
their lives, right.
in it's part of the kitchen table talk in
Right.
your jump in. That's a good place to jump in and start to bring it around this household and this family unit and family circle. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
well, what would you suggest for us so that we don't, if we ever get to that stage, what would you suggest to make it a little bit easier on you and me? You know.
Right.
So yeah, like just don't put off the conversations, because we see it all the time. They're talking to a best friend and the best friend's dealing with it. An
Mhm.
older cousin is dealing with it. An
Mhm.
older sibling is dealing with it.
Mhm.
But you're
Mhm.
having those conversations amongst, yourself. That's a good time to shift it to your family unit and start the conversation.
Excellent points. Great advice. Thanks. Thanks for that. Now, even before you get to that age later on, let's talk about uh, just being, after 50, period.
Yeah.
Why is it so much harder to let go after 50?
Well, because we're in between, right? They
Mm-hmm.
call us the sandwich generation for
Mm-hmm.
for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We have either lost the generation before us
Mm-hmm.
already, and so we've already experienced loss and death and grief.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're also thinking about our mortality, and we're
Yes.
also thinking about, okay, such and such got Alzheimer's or dementia at X age. Ooh,
Exactly.
I potentially got, you start counting,
You do. You do.
you start thinking, oh wow, I'm turning 55 this year. We start to having those thoughts, even if we don't
Yeah.
verbalize it, we
Mm-hmm.
start having those thoughts. And then it translates to the things in our home that we live with, because
Mm-hmm.
everything that is in our home is related to something. It's
So.
associated with something. It's
Mm-hmm.
associated with an experience, with a person, with a
Mm-hmm.
goal, with a dream, with an accomplishment, with a failure, with a dang, I always wanted to do this. mm, that's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
so if we purge or if we declutter or if we donate these things, are we admitting that that's over? That that part of our life is over? Are
Mm-hmm.
we admitting that I'm never going to achieve that? You know,
Mm.
and depending on if we have someone to really have those conversations with,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on where we are emotionally and being able to redirect that into, okay, maybe I can't do this, but what
Mm-hmm.
can I do? If we're not
Mm-hmm.
able to redirect that,
Mm-hmm.
that can be depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like if we're not ready to have those conversations even with ourselves, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
deal with, all those boxes of things from college. I don't want
Right.
to deal with, those things from, after my first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to deal with the things when I lost my baby, or when I had the pregnancy scare, or when I was on, when I was doing fertility treatments. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many things that I see
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
homes when I'm helping people clear out homes that tell me the story, and
Wow.
that most people totally forget that they stuffed into that hall closet, or they stuffed into
Wow.
that closet that nobody has used that bedroom in 20 years.
Ooh.
It's there's so many things that are uncovered that,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like put it
Mm-hmm.
back there, and I don't want to think about it.
And
And
set it and
so
forget it. Sorry.
yeah, it's the fear of the unknown. It's the
Mm-hmm.
fear of what is, I don't even know what's in there. And I don't even want to know, because I don't know what emotion is going to be stirred up with that.
That's true.
That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a huge, yes, yes, indeed. It's like I'm getting emotional just listening to you right now. I'm thinking about the stuff I have here that belonged to my mother who died 10 years ago. I
Mhm.
have stuff from my grandmother, her wallet.
Yeah,
It's like, why? Why? And every time I
yeah,
open my drawer, my lingerie drawer, there's my mother's blue slip that she wore
yeah,
when she was in
yeah,
her whatever. It's like, I
yeah.
can't get rid of
I
that
have
stuff.
my I have my
Yes.
grandmother's, and it's fine, right? Like it's fine for us to have those things. It's not
Hmm.
hurting anything.
Hmm.
But it's being very intentional
Hmm.
about why we're
Right.
keeping that.
Right.
It's like we
Right.
can't keep all of our mother slips, right?
Right.
We can't
Right.
keep all of our dad or grandfather's ties.
Mhm.
It's just really being intentional about what we're keeping and why.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's so interesting you mentioned your grandmother's wallet. I had a client one time that I was working with virtually during the pandemic,
Mhm.
and we happened to open a box, and
Mhm.
it was her mother. I can't remember if it was her mother or her grandmother's purse
Mhm.
that she had when she
Mhm.
went into the hospital, and she never came home after the
Mm.
hospital, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so it was a pause, and I paused and let her have her emotions. And then
Mm.
I asked her one question, and
Mhm.
I said, how does seeing the purse make you feel? Do you smile when you see it? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I could see, you know,
Mhm.
blank,
Mhm. Mhm.
walking to our car with this purse, and it makes you smile. Or does it make you sad seeing it because of the last, these are the things she had in this purse before she fell ill and had to go to the hospital?
Ooh.
Because it could go either way. It
Mhm.
literally could go either way. Even though that was the purse her grandmother had, it could have gone either way. She could have looked at it and
Mhm.
go, oh my gosh, she loved that purse,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it could have made her smile, but it didn't. And so I
Oh.
encouraged her, because of that, I
Mhm.
encouraged her to let it go.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
it was still in good condition, decent condition, right? Like
Mhm.
somebody could have saw it and wanted to restore it, or liked it.
Mhm.
But I encouraged her to let it go because it wasn't bringing up joy and a joyful memory
Right. A
of
joy.
her loved one, right?
Hmm.
And so, but I would never have forced her. I just
Never.
encouraged her, and I encouraged her why. And then I think she did end up getting rid of it, but she found something inside of it
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
did bring joyful memory. And I think it was
Oh,
like a little coin purse. You know how,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
coin
the little
purses.
coin
Yes.
purse with the little
Yes.
kiss
Yes.
lock?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a little coin purse, the kiss lock, and she kept that out of the purse. So yeah.
And you, here again, you brought back another memory. Getting back to that wallet. My
Hmm.
grandmother was a seamstress, so she would take anything and everything, an envelope,
Yes.
and throw it and make little pockets. And this wallet, she redesigned the wallet, and she stitched here and stitched there so she can have extra
Mm,
compartments. so,
I
so
love
it's
that.
hard to get rid of it. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I
But
love that. And where do you have it? Where is it?
it's in my nightstand, in
It's
my
in your
top drawer in my
nightstand. Oh,
nightstand, so
good.
I see it all the time
Yeah,
when I open it
yeah,
up. You
yeah.
know how you strategically,
Put it
place stuff.
places. Hmm.
Yeah, you strategically place stuff so it'll be there, or when you open the drawer or you open the cabinet. Like right now, I'm looking um, into the kitchen, and on top
Hmm.
of the refrigerator is a jar of chili sauce that my mother made. Oh my God, this
Yes,
is crazy.
yes,
And
yes.
that chili sauce is probably at least 35 years old. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah. Hmm.
I can't get rid of it. It's like my husband, like, when are you going to get rid of this? I'm like,
I don't think I will.
I don't think
I
I
don't
will.
think I will. And
It
that's
doesn't take up a lot of
okay.
space. It's not like a
No.
giant, you hear stories about people holding on to their grandfathers or their mothers or whatever, big special chair, and it takes up a lot of room, you know.
Right, right.
So little stuff like that. Uh,
Yeah.
when you mentioned the stuff about bringing you joy, what is the lady's name, the designer? Marie Kondo?
Oh, Marie
Kondo.
Kondo. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Her
Hmm.
whole thing is if it brings you joy, and but so yeah, when you raise that point, that's an excellent point. If it doesn't bring you joy, you know,
Yeah, if it doesn't, it's like you're already grieving, right?
right?
And so we don't need triggers to
Oh,
remind us that we've lost somebody, right? If we're going to have something that's
hmm,
going to remind us of the loss, like let
hmm,
it be something that's at least going to give us a little jiggle,
yeah, yeah,
a little chuckle, a little smile, a little smirk,
right,
a little, you know,
right, right, right,
because we don't
right,
need a reminder that there's a void.
right.
We don't need that reminder. I remember after Joan Rivers passed away,
Hmm.
and I remember her daughter Melissa was
Hmm.
on the Wendy Williams show.
Hmm.
It was probably like a year or so after
Oh
she
my gosh,
passed.
I remember that.
And
Yes.
I remember, I think it was like right before the auction that they
Hmm.
ended up having, what, like Christie's or something, whatever the big auction houses were. And I
Hmm.
remember Wendy kind of like, oh my God, your mom had this and that and all the things. And, like Joan was a maximalist of maximalists. Like
Hmm.
minimalism, she would have been like blank, 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 right? She would have cut
Right,
all that.
right,
And
right.
I found it very interesting that the things that Melissa chose to keep.
Hmm.
And she said that she kept like a water pitcher
Uh-huh.
that Joan had, and so that stays on her nightstand at night.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then she kept the cup that Joan put her toothbrush in the bathroom. And I remember the look on Wendy's face, like, what? Like all this luxury stuff that your mom has, and you kept the cup that she
Right.
put her toothbrush in? But the reason
Hmm.
got me. She said, because every morning I would stand in the doorway of my
Hmm.
mom's bathroom and
Hmm.
watch her get ready, and that cup was in my eyesight, right? My vision. And so our morning routine, that
Hmm.
cup
Hmm.
I didn't notice it then, but now it's like it was always there. And so that was important to her. Right. And
Wow.
so and a lot of times it's very difficult to really figure that out on our
Hmm.
own.
Hmm.
But we can't keep everything
You
that
can't keep
we
everything.
can't keep everything.
Uh,
And so you really have to think that through. So
right,
you just really have to think it through. And sometimes
right,
that takes time. Sometimes it's
right,
not something that we can do during the dark days that I call it.
right.
Like, sometimes
And then,
that takes time.
yeah, and then it depends on a bit depending on the size. I mean, you want a new bed, bedroom set, a new, living room set. It's like, okay, that old couch is going to have to go. Uh,
Yeah.
and just, I read where it says take pictures. What do you tell your clients?
Yes, if they're having a hard time with certain things, I absolutely, absolutely. If they're having a hard time with things, I definitely say take pictures because
Hmm.
I think a lot of the fear also is that they're going to forget,
Yeah,
right? They're going to
yeah.
forget what this looked like.
Oh,
And so
right.
yes, absolutely. And then you can put it all in a folder and, if you forget about it, you forget about it. But if you do ever remember, you can go into that folder and you can see all the things.
Right, I love that. And, you hear
Mhm.
stories. I'm sure you may have run across this in some of your clients. People holding on to their parents or grandparents' dentures. Eyeglasses. Now, I have my mother's hearing aid. She
Mm.
she spent a lot of money on a hearing aid. I think she wore it 2 times. It's like, oh my god! And I've just kept it all these years, and I just recently discovered that a piece of her hair is on it. Woo! And so I'm never getting
What? Oh,
Oh my god,
yes.
little stuff like
Oh,
that. Well,
wow.
little
Yeah.
stuff. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely is part of the process. It is
Mhm,
absolutely part of the
mhm,
process.
mhm.
I remember when after my mom passed, my sister she took some of her frames, her eyeglass frames, and so she
Uh-huh.
got her prescription put in it. So she
I
uses it.
love it. Oh,
Yeah, I try to encourage people, not just to keep things that they'll just store away in the attic or the garage, but
right,
keep things
right,
that you can display, that maybe you can use,
right,
that maybe you
right,
can wear.
right.
There were my parents had this huge like double rocker, thick wood, heavy, they had it reupholstered like 3 times over my
Oh, I
lifetime.
love it.
And I always would try and like get them to give it to me, right? Like
Right,
y'all don't, because I
right,
would
right,
always go in, it was in their room. I would always go and sit in it, fall asleep.
right,
When it was in the
right,
living room,
right.
that was like my favorite place to sit in. And I would always be like, y'all
Aw,
don't really want that no more, right? Come on,
right.
let me have it, right? So, after they both passed, I did take it. Like I knew it was coming to my house. Where it was going, I did not know, but I knew
No,
it was coming to my house. And I also knew I was going to make space for it. So
right.
something, if I didn't have space for it, something was going,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Something was going. And it moved to 3 different locations in my home until I found the perfect,
Oh,
because it's not small.
see?
It's not small. So
Right,
it
right.
literally has gone, it went to 3 different locations until it finally found its home. But
Wow.
it's like, I really try and encourage people, if it's something you really want,
Mhm,
display it, make
mhm,
room for it,
mhm.
use it, wear it, but try not to hold on to too many things because the decision is delayed.
Wow. Wow. Right,
Yeah.
right. Woo,
Yeah.
so much good stuff. Now I want to ask about something I recently saw on your Facebook page about ADHD plus simplicity. And we know ADHD, that brings on a whole nother level of
Hmm.
decluttering that journey.
Hmm.
So tell us about, you mentioned a one-step system. Tell us about that.
Well, I've noticed that a lot of my clients,
Hmm.
because someone in their family or their children have been recently diagnosed, there are a lot of late diagnosis, right, in adults,
Yes, yes,
or
especially
they're
with women.
self, yes, or they're self-diagnosing, right,
Yes,
because their child or their sister has been diagnosed, and they're like, oh yeah,
exactly.
that's all me, like
Right,
that's all me,
right,
right?
right, right.
And so it is very it is very common, very, very common. And so, and different systems work for different people, but the
Uh-huh.
one thing that is common across the board is easy in, easy out. If there's too many steps to get it or to find
Mhm,
it,
mhm,
the system is going to fail. If it's too many steps to put it back,
uh-huh,
the system is going to fail. If there are too many layers,
mhm,
so let's say you have a deep cabinet, a deep shelf.
mhm,
If you have, or and then a tall shelf, if you
mhm,
have like three layers of things, like this bin is on top of this bin, on top of this bin,
mhm.
that's too many layers,
That's
right?
true. Uh-huh.
It's too many layers to get to what you need to get. And so,
And visually too, I would imagine.
and
Yeah, yeah,
visually,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Challenge.
And
Yeah.
so
Mhm,
open bins are good because, you know, all you need to know is that this bin over here has all of your electronic cords.
mhm,
It could just be thrown in there. It doesn't have
mhm,
to be perfectly wound up and
mhm,
labeled that this
mhm.
goes with the iPad and this goes with the headphones and this goes with the ring light. You just need to know that that basket has all of the electronic cords and it needs to
Right.
be open, like no lid, nothing on top of it.
Uh-huh.
Just I reach in, I get what I need, and I
Mhm,
put it back. And I can just throw it back into the bin. That's one step.
mhm,
Like in the video, the shoes. A lot of
mhm,
people, we like the shoe boxes, and
mhm.
that's good. That's
Uh-huh.
fine. And we do need to utilize the vertical space above or below the closet. The
Mhm,
problem is if we have our shoes in a typical shoe box, it
mhm,
has a lid and we stack 4 or 5. Typically, we can stack 5 shoe boxes on top of the closet rod
mhm,
shelf. But
mhm,
if you need the shoe that's on the bottom of the stack,
mhm,
we might be able
mhm,
to like pull it and yank it out and get it. But nine
mhm.
times out of 10, we got to at least take a couple from the top to get to the one from the bottom. And then
Ah,
who's putting that back,
right.
right?
Thank you.
So
Thank
therefore, like how we mentioned earlier, that is enough of a hassle for
you.
anyone, whether you're neurodivergent or not. That's enough of a hassle to where now you're remembering, oh my God, it is a pain in the butt getting
Mhm,
these shoes. So then
mhm.
what ends up happening? Now I'm putting the shoebox on the floor. Or now I'm not even putting the shoes back into the shoebox because
Wow.
the next time I need it, it's going to be a pain in the butt.
Right.
So, a good way of
Mhm,
still utilizing your vertical space
mhm,
and making it one step is
mhm,
either getting shoe boxes that don't have lids, but
mhm,
they open, right? So
mhm.
it's one step to open it, grab it out, and then one
Oh,
step to open and put it back. And
okay.
sometimes the front access shoe boxes, sometimes I'll just tell people when it's empty, just keep the flap open,
Right,
right?
right,
So it's
right.
like that step is already eliminated. All you have to do when you come back in the house is pop the shoes back in. Or like in the video, it's just like sliding in the shoes. It's like a little cubby hole for the shoes. Each shoe has its own cubby hole. That's easy. Slide in, slide out.
Right,
It's clear. You can see it.
right.
Or I've even put shoe racks on top
Mhm,
of the shelf. So therefore, there's no box, there's no bin. It's
mhm,
literally you can fit 4 pairs of shoes on each shelf.
mhm, mhm.
Maybe it has two levels or three, easy in, easy out. So it's really reducing the steps. Another example, my husband, I don't know if he has ADHD, but he thinks different than I do.
Right,
And
right,
I don't know. So it
right.
works with that too. But, for him, I never had a trash can or anything in the bedroom, right? It's
Okay.
like there was one in the bathroom, and then there's one in the kitchen. But I was noticing that, if he's snacking in the room, in the bed, if drinking some water or whatever,
Right.
there was no place for him to throw away the wrapper, the trash, the bag, the red cup, the can, the bottle, whatever. And
Right.
so it
Right.
would gather, right?
Hmm.
Like it would
Hmm.
gather on the nightstand, or
Hmm.
maybe it might gather below the nightstand, or
Right.
maybe it may spread over to, our console that's in front of the bed. And now it's visual clutter for me, right?
Exactly.
I'm
I was
like,
just thinking that. I was just
I'm
thinking.
I'm I'm
Right.
like, sir, this is a shared space now. Like, okay, now I'm gonna push your clutter on over to your side, because at least in my brain, this is my side, this is your side. I'm gonna push it over here,
Hmm.
and hopefully that'll be enough time for you to deal with it. But instead of fighting with
Hmm.
the way that his brain works,
Hmm.
it's like, okay, make this step easier. Tanisha, he is not going to get up and take this trash on a regular basis into the kitchen. He's not going to do it.
He's
He's
not
not going to do
happening.
it.
Not
Period.
happening.
End of discussion.
Right.
So, girl, put a trash bag or a small basket or something next to his bed so that it's someplace for it to go. He
Right.
don't even need
Right.
to get out of the bed. He doesn't
Right.
even need to get out of the chair. It's someplace for it to go. Now,
Right.
that has helped. Now, whether or not he empties it on a regular basis as
Right.
quickly as I would, that is
Right.
not my concern. It
Right.
slows the process down from the
Right.
clutter collecting in other places. So even
Yes.
that, it's like, like a lot of the challenge is the more organized person that lives in the house.
Hmm.
Sometimes we want to pull the other person in our direction and force them to do what we want them to do,
Oh
or
my
to
God. Not
have a
happening.
relationship with our stuff, or the things in the trash the same
Right.
way we do. It's not going to happen.
I'm,
It's not. So what we need to do is figure out a system that works for them, that can like put a little bit of grace and a little bit of space in between you and their clutter and their stuff,
right. Right.
right?
I'm
So
laughing so true because it's like, and I don't know if you're guilty of this, I'll see stuff and then I'll take a picture and I'll send it to my girlfriend and or my sister, whomever. And every once in a while I'll get a little text from somebody totally different. They said, "Oh, you're not gonna believe what I saw it, in our bedroom or whatever." It's like,
yes, yes, yeah,
love, love, love. Nothing
yeah.
coming from a place of love. And
Coming from a place of love. It's just certain things. It's like, like I already know. As I'm
right.
waiting for my coffee to brew in the morning, or I'm warming it up,
Hmm.
I already know I'm gonna throw away one or two red cups. I'm gonna put either the hot sauce or the ketchup back into the cabinet. I may have to throw away, a to go, an Uber Eats bag.
Hmm.
Like, I know it takes less than 2 minutes. By the time my coffee is ready, it's done.
Right.
Fine, whatever.
Right.
Like, okay, it's just certain things that, yeah, you just, so make
Right.
it easier. Just make it easier on yourself or the people you live with,
Oh
who,
my God.
have a different relationship with
Oh my
things.
God. It's like
So that, yeah.
yes, like I always preach, everything has a home.
Yes, yes,
Everything.
yes,
That's
yes.
my little 3-year-old great niece. I'm teaching her that, and
Hmm.
everybody else. Everything has a home, and I always
Everything
say,
has a
like,
home.
this is valuable real estate. That there's some junk in, taking up that space. This is valuable.
Yes.
This little corner right here. It's like,
Yes. And
so you
so
just have to
interesting
keep
you
an eye
say
on
that.
stuff. Uh huh.
So interesting
Uh
you say that, because a lot of times when people are like, I don't have any more space, or I don't know
huh.
where to start,
Hmm.
when I see spaces
Uh-huh.
that are really good prime real estate, valuable real estate,
Hmm.
and it's filled with things that nobody's using, nobody even knows what's in there, I
Right.
always say, let's start there because we
Right.
can generate space.
That's right. That's right. One thing that I read years ago that works for me is they say if you're going to declutter a drawer, for example, you just can't pick stuff out of the drawer and put it here, put it there. Takes one stuff, one thing out a day. They say you have to empty the whole container, and then
Hmm.
put stuff back in that
Hmm.
you need and then you use, and then get rid of the rest.
Hmm.
Um, what are some of the things that you tell your clients in order to get on the good step, the good foot, and declutter their homes and their lives?
You know what? It honestly adjusts with different people because
Hmm.
that method
Hmm.
is great, but
Hmm.
for some people that could be paralyzing to
Mm.
empty a drawer, right? And then
Mhm.
it's like nine times, especially if it's a drawer with a lot of different categories in it,
Mhm. Mhm.
most people can't, it's very overwhelming for them to know where to start. Um,
And that's
and
gotten that has as I've gotten older,
mhm,
I'm not gonna lie, as I've gotten older,
mhm,
that has happened to me. It's like when I
mhm,
was younger, it was like, okay, yeah, that.
mhm,
But now it's like, oh my God. And how long
mhm,
is it allowed to stay on the dining room table?
mhm.
So I could finish going through everything.
Yeah. So with that example, I'm going to give
Mhm.
you a few ways that I would tackle that depending on who I'm working with or advising. So yes, for some people, dumping that one drawer and
Mhm.
then going through it could absolutely work. And so sometimes I'd say, okay, dump the drawer and look
Mhm.
for anything that you automatically know is trash.
Mhm.
Take care of the trash first,
Mhm.
and then see what's left over. Is it same category or is it different categories of things? If it's
Mhm.
the same category, then you first of all you look and say, okay, with what's left, will this all fit in the drawer? If it doesn't all fit in the drawer and it's kind of tight,
Mhm.
then you got to declutter enough to where everything fits in the drawer easily, and then you may still have some growing room. If
Oh.
there's different categories, then what I normally suggest is instead of trying to pick up one thing and make a decision, sort the
Mhm.
categories with sort the categories first so then you can deal with the category first. So instead of picking up, the tissue packet and then picking up, a rubber bracelet and then picking up change and then deciding, put
Mhm.
together maybe all of the toiletries. If there's a bunch of little tiny toiletries, put those together.
Oh.
Put together
Mhm.
things that would go into the office, put those together. If there's clothes in there, put those together. Try and find some common categories, and then you look at all of the toiletries and go, oh, okay, this tissue packet is still good. It's almost full. Let me either put this in my purse or let me put this with my travel stuff. Oh,
Mhm.
this lotion from the hotel is almost gone. Let me just go
Mhm.
on and throw this away, or
Oh.
it's all dried up, or
Mhm.
I didn't like the
Mhm.
scent or the way it felt. Let me go on and throw this away. So you going through the same thing, so your brain isn't hopping from category
Wow.
to category, like you're
Yeah.
comparing apples to apples. So that's also another neurodivergent trick, and really
Mhm.
honestly for everyone, because a lot of times people are like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm so drained after us doing this. Like you were doing all the work, you were moving, lifting, and I said it's emotionally. Like you made a gazillion decisions
Mhm. Mhm.
all day or for 3 or 4 or 5 hours straight. You're emotionally exhausted. So a lot of times it's easier if we're comparing apples to apples
Mhm.
versus trying to compare a whole bunch of different things and decide what to get rid of. Um,
Wow.
another another um, another method in that same drawer is, instead of taking everything out, kind
Mhm.
of doing the same thing but just looking for trash first, but not taking it out, but just looking for a
Ah,
category first. So it's like, okay, look and see if there are things in there that are automatic trash. Look and see if there are things in there that, let's just say if it's a underwear drawer, like,
mhm,
that there's a set of underwear that you are never going to wear again,
mhm,
whether or not because they're just old, the elastic is, whatever, they have
mhm,
some holes or whatever.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
there's a set of underwear that you're not going to wear anymore.
Exactly.
Find those
Exactly.
first, right?
Ah.
Then see what's left. Do you have
Mhm,
enough space? Then it's like if you want to separate the ones that are your go-tos and then the ones that are maybe special, or if you need to, then you
mhm.
can separate those and deal with whatever. But kind of looking for things, almost like a scavenger, looking for one thing at a time
Mhm, mhm,
and dealing with that first, because then also you're looking in this one space,
mhm.
landscape, footprint, and you're seeing the clutter start to disappear. And you're
Mm.
starting to see the order
Right,
happen before
right.
your eyes because you're dealing with one focus at a time
Mhm.
versus keeping everything in there and just taking out what you see and trying to make a decision. So those are kind of different techniques but
Yeah,
the same, this trying to get to the same result.
yes, yes. I know we have to wrap. So one more quick question. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite trending declutter, from TikTok or whatever? Do you have a favorite one that you've tried, or else you say, "Oh shoot, this is, some good stuff," or like, no, no, no.
A favorite. I mean, I love a good file fold. I love a good fold, and instead of putting things in a drawer, kind of
Mhm,
stacked up on top of each other, like how
mhm,
we were taught when we were younger. I love to fold things in drawers, but put them, vertically so that you can see everything,
oh,
if that
wow,
makes sense.
stack them vertically.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So think about t-shirts, right?
yeah.
So if you fold the t-shirt how you normally
Mhm,
do and you put it, you have a stack of five and you put it in the drawer,
uh-huh,
you have to manipulate and mess with the four t-shirts that's on top of it to get
mhm.
to the one that's on the bottom.
Right.
But if you literally do one more fold the same way that you folded it before, then it's kind of in half. Now you can put them, like
Right.
this, so that you can
Exactly.
actually see, oh, this is the t-shirt that has, my school logo on it. Oh, this is the t-shirt from
I
my
love
sorority.
that.
Oh, these are all black solid t-shirts. And so
Right.
it's very easy, and then also it's easier to maintain the drawer because you're not messing with everything. You're just literally taking out what you want.
Right. You know who I think quietly does that? I'm gonna have to look at his drawers when I'm done here. My husband, I think he does
Mm-hmm.
that a little bit with the vertical
Mm-hmm.
stacking.
Mm-hmm.
And you have provided so much great stuff, and I cannot let you go without talking about your book, Clutter Chin Checks.
Chin checks. Yes.
Chin Checks, 21 days
Yes.
to more organize you,
Yes.
declutter quickly and say, boy, bye bye. I say goodbye.
Yes, yes. Okay,
Tell us about your
bye.
book.
Yes, that honestly, that was birthed after my mom passed, and
Oh.
it was during the dark days. And I'm one
Mhm,
where I'm always on social media, and
mhm,
so it was unexpected. My sister and I were just like in the bed, 3 weeks after she passed,
mhm.
and there was just a part of me that I don't know. I just wanted to feel normal. And
Uh-huh.
so I would go, I would go onto my Facebook page and I would literally just say, hey, that junk mail? Go ahead and throw that away. Okay, bye. And then that was it. And it was just text. It was text, white text with a black background.
Uh-huh.
And I would do that. And so I would just think of things, or, just being with my sister was always
Mhm,
something.
mhm.
And so I would just go up there and every day for over a year, and I would say, hey, that underwear drawer, you got about five pairs of panties that you can just go on and toss. You're not wearing no
Mm,
more.
mhm.
Okay, bye. And
Okay, bye. Oh
yeah, okay,
my
bye.
gosh.
just one or two sentences. Most of the time it was just one. And I think people were so like, oh my gosh, she's on. Like, oh my gosh. It was my way to kind of let people know, like, yes, I'm devastated, but I'm still here. And then people told me like after a while, each okay bye post
Mhm.
is a chapter. And
Oh,
so that's what I did.
oh, I love that. And sorry
Yeah.
about your mother. I know that.
Thank
Oof,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's tricky.
it
Um,
is.
and so now,
Mhm.
lastly, and I promise this is it.
It's okay.
What's the one small step that someone can take today to declutter their life, or just one thing? Ah.
One small step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Literally throw away the trash.
Oh.
Throw away the trash.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what category.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what category. It doesn't matter what closet. It doesn't matter what cabinet, what drawer.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be something in there that can just be thrown away.
Wow, that is so true. As I look
It
around,
doesn't matter. It could
right?
be one thing. It literally, it doesn't matter what drawer. There is a kitchen utensil that is broken or you never use, but it's still in there. There is,
That's so
something
true.
that you bought that's in your pantry that you bought extra of during the holidays and but it's still in there. It's not going to be good by the time the holiday comes around.
Right. Right.
There's something even in your closet that is stained, it's whatever, and you're never
Mm-hmm.
going to wear it. It's not donatable anymore, unfortunately. Like bathroom, always something. There is something in every space in your house, every category, that if you just throw away what needs to be thrown away,
Mm-hmm.
that is the best place to start.
Like, girl, bye.
Girl, bye. Girl, bye.
That is so true. And you feel so good when you throw stuff away.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so cleansing,
Yeah, yeah.
and
It
it's self care.
literally likes, yeah, it's self-care. It
Hmm.
absolutely is self-care because this is the thing. I mean, we like to look at all the perfect spaces and everything,
Hmm.
but honestly, the whole purpose of living in an organized space
Hmm.
is that your space in your home is supposed to support you in
Hmm.
all the stages of your life.
Hmm.
Because, life is going to hit us and we're going to expect it, unexpected. We're going to have moments in time when we're literally just trying to keep our head above water.
Hmm.
And during that time, your home should support you. And
Hmm.
once that season is over or you're getting through it, it shouldn't feel like you're climbing Mount Everest to
Hmm.
now get your house back in order. Like your
Right,
house should
right.
be able to support a little bit of chaos.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. And you know what? And I have to ask because I'm looking at the pictures behind you. I mean, not
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
pictures, the books behind you.
Hmm. Hmm.
It, the two that are below, right there. One says
Oh,
organized.
oh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, tell me about those two books.
Oh, okay. So this is these are all the magazines that I've been in.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
yeah, so these are the magazines that I've been in. I'm trying to figure out a way to frame them. So I kept that there.
Uh-huh.
And then this, I created a self-care journal.
Okay. Oh,
And
wow.
this is was inspired by my therapist that
Uh-huh.
I started seeing when my dad was ill and he was preparing for a heart transplant.
Right, right.
And when you're a caregiver or you're somebody's person,
Hmm.
it's a lot. It's a
You've
lot,
been there,
right?
been there.
It's
Yeah.
a lot. And then,
Woo.
if
Yes.
you have a partner, a love interest, kids, or other people in your life that depend on you, a
Uh-huh.
job, a business, it's a lot. And
Uh-huh.
so during this time, I needed to like remember me. And so
Uh-huh.
my therapist said that she wanted me to write a list of things that I could do
Hmm.
every day for 15 minutes that turns the focus back onto me.
Wow.
And when I tell you, when she
Oh
told me
my.
that, I was so overwhelmed during this season. I
Uh-huh.
cried at the thought of having to now come up with a list that was going to help me. So every day at some point, you can look at the list and pick something. And so I
Wow.
know that I'm not alone. And so I created a journal, and it's a daily journal, and it literally just says what was your self-care for the day? What
Nice.
reminder do
I
you
love
need to
that.
tell yourself, and what are you grateful for?
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. I'm in Florida and you're in California. Otherwise,
I know,
God
I
knows
know.
I need help. I need help.
Well, we
Yeah.
do. I do virtual. I do virtual. When I'm on
Yep.
the East Coast, I let my East Coast people know, that I'm there.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
also have a school community where we talk about all these things. We have a decluttering plan, and so there's a bunch of ways that I can connect and add value.
Beautiful. Oh, you know what? And I'm gonna follow your school community. And
I
everybody, of
love you.
course, we're gonna yes, yes, and we're gonna put all of this information in the podcast description because you're gonna want to keep up with her, right? She has shared so much amazing information with us today. You're gonna want to be in touch with her and follow her and see what's up. And all of that stuff is going to be in the podcast description. Oh man, I don't want to go, but we have to go. I can't keep it for 2 hours. So, Tanisha, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate you, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing this amazing information with us.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me the space to share my passion and to possibly help someone.
Oh, you're gonna help. Oh, you're gonna help. Trust me. Trust and believe. Thank you very much. Isn't she amazing? So much great information. Thank you, Tanisha. Again, we've been talking to Tanisha Lyons Porter. She's the founder of Natural Born Organizers. And we're going to list all of her information in the podcast description where you can stay in touch with her, right? Because you're going to want her magic to help you declutter your life. Tanisha brings a practical, compassionate approach to decluttering with simple, practical systems that actually work. Lovies, here's the takeaway. At some point, it's not about the stuff anymore. It's about whether it still makes sense for how you're living now. And for many of us, that also means creating a safer space for our parents and ourselves. Take the first step. Start your decluttering journey. And thanks again for subscribing to the Ageless Glamour Girls podcast. Thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel and following us on all of our social media, including our private Facebook group, the Ageless Cafe. So much fun. All right. Thank you so much for your love and support, and cheers to healthy aging and joyful living, lovies. We'll reconnect again real soon. Bye bye for now.